Hello, everyone. So glad you're here. So happy to have Marlene here in the studio with me. Welcome, welcome, everyone. As you know, we kick off by breathing together. And this is an opportunity for all of us to arrive here in this moment and to leave the world behind us and to just bring our best selves to this important work. And we do that with the Heart Math Institute's quick coherence technique. So, hand over your heart. Hi, Irma. Hand over your heart, breathing in for a count of 4, 5, or 6, whatever is comfortable. And a relaxed exhale, slightly longer, 5, 6, 7. Hello, Julie. Welcome. Breathing together, connecting to the group energy, heart to heart. Inhaling, slightly longer exhale, signaling to the body that it's time to relax. Connecting your brain and your heart, bringing your entire system into coherence. Hello, Diane G. Letting the world grow quiet around us. Thank you, everyone. We are now connected. We have important work to do tonight. 2 really, really big intentions, and then our final meditation for our clairs, which is the trickiest clair of all in my experience, and that is claircognizance. So let us get going. Let's start with the young people in the United States. We now intend for Americans of all ages to immediately and permanently increase the number of weekly meals shared with another person, calmly and in peace, so they may be healthy and well in every way. Allow this intention to drop into your heart chakra. Send it out into the quantum field and follow the energy. Thank you, everyone. Trust this intention and release it with love. Hi, Bora Bora 333. Okay. Now, our next intention. I don't know if you saw it, but there's an article that talks about a watchdog group that assesses the state of democracy around the world. And they are considering downgrading the United States from a full democracy because of things that have been going on. And over the past 20 years, more and more countries have sort of shifted away from full democracy. So this is something that is prevalent in many areas of the world. And the two metrics they use are, can you freely express yourself without, hi Enid, welcome. Can you fully express yourself without fear of retribution or being disappeared or arrested? And also the caliber of elections. Are they free and are they fair? So those are the two metrics they use. So that's why our intention addresses those, not just for the US, but for any country struggling to expand human rights. Here we go. We now intend for the permanent expansion of human rights globally, with immediate advancement in freedom of expression and completely free and fair elections. Allow this intention to drop into your heart chakra, project it out into the quantum field, and follow the energy. Thank you, everyone. Trust this intention and release it with love. And our final intention for tonight. Hi, Amanda Carroll. Welcome. Our final intention is for all of us, and this is to enhance our intuitive sense of claircognizance. Together, we intend to remain healthy and well in every way as we welcome all appropriate upgrades to our claircognizant intuitive sense, and to notice with gratitude when we receive necessary, timely, and accurate information through claircognizance. Allow this intention to drop into your heart chakra, project it out into the quantum field, and follow the energy. Thank you. Trust this intention and release it with love. Thank you, Diane. We had 3 intentions tonight. One was for our claircognizance, and the second one was for democracy around the world. And the first was for the young people in America who are reporting feeling very unhappy and isolated. And one of the hallmarks of that loneliness is eating most of their meals on their own. So we have an opportunity to create connection and to build friendships with eating more meals with other people. So I'd love to hear from anyone in the comments, and also Marlene, if you'd like to share your experiences, your your impressions and insights. I'd love to hear from you.
It's super powerful, Daphne, because as we were settling in to the meditation, it started to thunder here. So the meditation like went out with the thunder, and it was so wonderful. And then like all the negative ions and the beautiful smell of the rain, and the birds are still singing out there, even though it's almost dark, which is they're loving it too. So that was really, really beautiful, all of them. I found the first one brought me back to a time in my life when that was true for me. And I came up with this idea of like having like a space that was a community kitchen where people could just bring the food they wanted to cook into a common area and then like cook and eat in an area like that. And I started looking into setting up something like that. But there's also simple ways of doing it, of course, like going to the Hindu temple serves free meals, and you know there's ways to do it that exist, and you know there's lots of ways to like say get like a church basement and like serve meals for people. So that's something that I've done in the past as well. And then so that's really dear to my heart. And then also when it comes to the second one, whenever politics gets into it, I struggle a little more to get into my heart space, or just not so much to get into it, but to stay in it. Because you know all the other things come up, and it's just like it's a roiling mess out there. So you know it's so nice to have a clear intention, just to stick with that, and to go back into the heart space and just really feel through it with the heart. And um, I just was that was what that one was like for me, though. I didn't get a lot of images. It was more like, okay, clear that away. Okay, clear that away. Okay,
Yes.
come back to the heart. And then in the last one, the thunder was there so strongly, and it came right as the point when I was so deep in the meditation, and I was considering about how so much of my own claircognizance sense is related to my connection to the earth, and like how well I how much time I've spent really in the wilderness, and learning to read just the signs and symbols of everything around me. And it's made me very connected to animals and birds and creatures, and they speak very clearly to me. So while I was just recognizing that, another like crescendo of thunder came up, and it was so beautiful. It was like all of the intentions were coming from our hearts and spreading out like with the like across the globe with the weather, right? It was so sweet. It was very, very sweet. And I could feel the presence of everyone. It was very, very lovely.
Thank you so much. I always love to hear what you have to say, because I know that you're a very experienced meditator, very experienced working with energy. And that's what we're doing here. There is a very real thing that's happening with this energy that we send out from our hearts. So thank you for illustrating that. Let's hear from some people in the comments here. Let's see. Um, Oh, Amanda has a comment. Powerful and necessary. Thunder here too in Seattle really added to our efforts. I've recently met someone doing exactly that, feeding people, and it's grown from 2 to 35 volunteers. Fantastic. That's great. Thank you for sharing that. And then Diane. Oh, here we go. For the first intention, I felt sadness in my heart and I felt like crying, yes. And when I released it to the quantum field, I saw light surrounding the meals. I feel sharing meals will bring connection. Wonderful. Thank you. Hi, Scott. Welcome. And Diane reports on the second intention, which also felt heavy, but she heard trust and shine your light. When I saw the image of globe and I saw a little light dot representing me letting out ripples of light. That's amazing. And letting out light until it spreads light to the globe. Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, I keep putting in comments in the notes if you'd like to share, but I thought I would tell you what I saw in these meditations, and there was some overlap, some connection, some thread of connection. And the first one, I felt the I have been feeling the sadness from other people, and I've my life has really changed in the last 10 years. I eat many fewer meals with other people, and some of it is because I'm traveling a lot. Some of it is that I work a lot. Some of it is that with the advent of COVID, our habits changed. So we're home a lot more. We don't go to as many restaurants or out to dinner with friends. But what I felt was that really peaceful, calm connection that you can have when you're just sitting down for a bowl of soup with somebody, just sharing a quiet meal together with no heavy discussions, no confrontation, no screens, right? And it reminded me of a technique that Lynne McTaggart taught us, the woman who created this Power of Eight style of meditation. She taught us that whenever you're working with somebody who is, or whenever you're in a conversation that becomes a conflict, the the impulse is to always go faster and just like argue and send out your opinions and make sure the other person's listening to you, but instead to slow down and to stop and to listen. And I felt like if we did that, if we prioritized that small amount of time every day, just making it a priority. I had heard people describe people in the US as that we know how to make a living, but we don't know how to make a life, right? Because we're very, very pro productivity. And I would contend that having a meal with friends or with someone you care about is highly productive and very healthy. For the second one, for democracy, uh, some clear audience came in. I heard the people are longing to be free. I heard the people are yearning for freedom. And then at the last voice said, the people will be free. So that gave me a lot of hope to hear those. And let's see if something's here in the chat. Irma writes, for the first intention, I imagine small groups of people gathering outside to share meals while being out in nature. Even better. Yeah. And Amanda Carroll says, I feel so much hope and community rising. Yes. And Diane says, the third intention was interesting. I felt tingling in my third eye and felt many of my guides surrounding me. Beautiful. And Irma, for the second intention, I saw Earth being enveloped in a white light. The energy was moving in a circular pattern. Yes, we're in a time of incredible change, and it's messy. And a lot of people are having trouble being patient with the mess. But I think ultimately things are going to are going to work out. I have unshakable optimism. I can't explain it, but this meeting up with you guys every week is definitely a part of it. And my for the third intention around claircognizance, that was really interesting because, well, let me just say this. I have had a healthy skepticism around claircognizance, right? Because we are in an era where people do have a lot of freedom to speak, and a lot of people are invested in lying, right? There's a lot of lying that happens, and it's very easy to get caught up in what you might think are facts, but then turns out that maybe they aren't, or maybe it was a kernel of the truth, but not the full truth. So I'm really very I try to be very discerning when it comes to claircognizance, because just knowing something is a nuanced clair. Okay, so so I what I have tried to do is, if I get something through claircognizance, I try to get a feel for where that information is coming from. Is it the Akashic records? Is it my guides? Is it the quantum field? Is it my own body? Is it my memories? Where is this confidence coming from? And then I also try to make a note of the hits I get and to test them out. Did that actually turn out to be true? And in some cases, I'll tell you an experience I had with claircognizance. I was at a store, and I was in the garden center of this large store, and I saw a car pull up outside the garden center, and there were two young men in there, and I immediately knew that they were going to be shoplifting. And I'm like, how did I know that? Right. And there was no reason for me to have known this in like the millisecond that I glanced at them. But I said, okay, I'm just going to test this. And I sort of like got myself off to the side where they wouldn't necessarily notice me. And they walked in, and one of them stood by the door with his keys, and the other one came about 2 aisles in, looked around, grabbed something, stuck it under his shirt, and they both left. so, so they were young, they were teenagers, and but my claircognizance turned out to be correct. And so I put that is in the win column, and I try and remember what that felt like so I could compare it next time. So tonight, when we were meditating on this, I got very interesting images. It was like claircognizance is kind of like a prism, like a crystal that collects scattered photons of light and concentrates them into a recognizable thought. And that's how we recognize it. And the way they were, oh, sorry, didn't mean to hit the mic. The way they were showing it to me, it was almost like it is a physical crystalline structure inside the brain. Now, I have no way of proving that. I have no idea if it's true or not, but those are the images that I got. So I think someday physicists and neuroscientists are going to know exactly how claircognizance works, and they'll be able to explain it to the rest of us. So looking forward to that someday. So anyway, wow, very, very, very interesting meditations tonight. And I hope that you guys are noticing. I mean, many of you have been here over the past few weeks as we've intended for all of our clairs. And I've had a few stories come back to me about how people's clairaudience is kicking in and how they're getting great information through this clair or that clair. Definitely keep practicing and keep enjoying it, because it's all part of the whole, right? You are meant to live in a universe filled with information, and you're meant to participate and enjoy the connection that we have with everything around us. like Marlene getting information and insights from nature and animals. Of course, we're brothers and sisters, right? We should be talking to each other. So anyway, okay, all right. I'm taking a look at the comments. Okay, all right. Well, you are always welcome to send me an email to let me know if what you experienced during these, or to ask questions. I mean, I don't know for sure I'll know the answer, but I've been doing this a long time, and finished the Intention Masterclass with Lynne McTaggart. And I'd be very happy to work with you to get the answers that you're looking for. All right, everyone. Let's conclude by breathing together. And this time we're going to disentangle our energy from the group. So we're just going to breathe together in the silence. Inhaling for a comfortable count, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling, 5, 6, 7, very relaxed. Letting go of any tension, any stress in the body. Feeling good about the work we've done here today, sending out ripples of positive energy through the quantum field. And releasing these intentions. We don't need to carry them with us. And if there's anything in tonight's meeting or the intentions or your meditations that you found helpful and inspiring or intriguing, or leave you feeling hopeful and inspired, please take that with you throughout your week. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.